Welcome everyone to the Voice of Terminus show. We're doing a special stream today. It's not going to be a very long one. We just want to touch over what we just saw VR stream out with Cohh. We have Lex with us. Say hello, Lex.
Hello.
Got Josh with us as well. Say hello.
Hey guys.
So they showed off pre-alpha footage and they went into Halnirs Cave, one of the first dungeons that you will basically encounter in the game. And we're going to play off this video while we talk about what's changed since the last showing of this instance, this dungeon, and some of the other things that might have caught an eye that are of interest for people. So we're going to play off this video. Like I said, we're not going to be doing this for too long, roughly about 30 minutes, just going over some of the notable things. So yeah. So first thing to note is that Halnirs Cave got a complete new visual revamp. It looks really, really nice. What do you guys think now of the new Halnirs Cave, the look and feel?
It looks great. I really like the lighting of it.
Yeah, the first time that we saw it, it looked good, but it wasn't great. Now I think that we can all agree that it does look great now.
Yeah, the way the lightings all work, the reflections, people are casting the spells, what you see now, it looks really great how that kind of just comes to effect. Adds that little suspense to it as well. And another thing to note as well is the abilities, the spells. They've got a visual rehaul as well. We can now see above the encounter the Black Rose Mine Hand. We can see buffs, dots and everything flashing above him to see who's cast what on him.
Yep.
Which is a common thing in MMOs. And actually, a visual cue, a visual indicator for others in the group as well, to kind of work together. So that's really looking good how far it's come so far.
Oh yeah, major improvements. But one thing I would like to add though is that it would be really nice to have like a little casting bar underneath the health bar for your target, because with all the spells going and flinging around, they're all bright, they're all real flashy. You're going to lose sight of what the NPC is doing.
Yeah.
And I understand both sides. I mean, some people don't want that because it forces you to learn and really pay attention. But on the other side, if you're more of a casual player or if you're doing something that's really, really tough, being that you see that he's casting something isn't going to be a big thing. You still have to know what they're casting. You have to see, okay, he's casting. Look at visual cues. If you see like a green coming from his hands, well, maybe is that a heal? Is it red? And it's
Yeah. Another thing to point out as well is if you look at the screen now, you've got the encounters with the spiders, and then you've got the group. That's another thing that could kind of cause a conflict. Is everything's in the same color.
Yeah, there are a lot of overlapping colors.
Yeah. But but again, we have to stress out as well that it's still pre-alpha, and those will be quality of life features that will definitely most likely come. I can't see them leaving it like that. But it's still things to point out, because a lot of people might have already noticed this and everything, but it's still important to point out this is still pre-alpha, and while it might be a nuisance at times and cause some irritation, it's something that will come further on down the line. There's
more important things to work on.
Exactly. There's more important things to work on instead of just adding that little bit of spacing between groups.
Yeah, or slightly different shades of colors for different spells, or
that comes right at the end.
Yeah, but what I do like is if we look at this in Halnirs Cave, and we've seen other streams, and the past stream with the making of the city, where they already had some visuals added to the game. The name tags of the NPCs, the group, and everything, they kind of illuminate in the cave, which I think looks really cool. I really do dig that. That adds. I don't know. It adds something to it. Adds something special to how you would engage in the.
It makes it feel real, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's what you would expect to do if you had to cast a spell yourself, for instance.
Right.
So, and another thing to note as well is it looks like the movement animations have changed slightly as well.
Yeah, that I did notice because those have always been one of my more prominent things that have bugged me, and I've been very vocal about that. Some of the run animations just really bug me. They're not there yet, but they are much better than they were. That's for sure.
So,
I'm still a little bit mesmerized because some of the spell effects, like I know in earlier streams we would see these spell effects that were very reminiscent of old EverQuest, and it put a lot of people off, made people really worried. I was one of them, you know. Mm-hmm. I'm very happy to see that we're seeing a little more modern spell effects.
I agree with you totally.
They're very flashy. They're not overly impressive, but they're impressive enough, especially in a dark area. You know, where you can sit there and be like, "Oh my God, what was that? Do that again!"
Definitely.
And I gotta say though, watching the video, it's still mesmerizing just to see the lighting and shadows work underground.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
Yeah, it certainly goes a long way to adding to your atmosphere or your immersion even.
It also goes to put faith in the actual engine itself, to say, well, if they can do this in a cave and they're building this from the ground up, imagine what other places are going to be like in terms of lighting, in terms of effects.
So there's that perception again, that basically kicked in at that pillar.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing to point out, that perception is actually, well, already there. And they also mentioned that they will like to show off some more of the perception that starts basically in Throne Fast or something. I think they mentioned at some point at a later stream. They've got a whole storyline set up. They'll be showing it off at a later point. So I can't wait to see how the whole perception system kind of interacts with you as a player, and where you go from there, and the choices that you have.
To be honest, that's exactly what they need to do right now, or at least soon, because perception is one of the things that's really going to set Pantheon apart from your standard modern MMO. So they've really got to kind of hammer that home to a lot of people that are looking at Pantheon and not really seeing anything new right now. You know, they're seeing something new, but it's new, but it still tastes very familiar. The perception system might be enough to kind of mix it up and be like, okay, now I am really interested in this game versus, you know, oh, it's another MMO. It's going to be the same old. You know, it's passing glance.
And the spacing, the visual spacing, it just feels so connected to the players themselves as well.
So natural.
It's like as if it's something you would see in your natural environment. Like if you look at your house or you go outside and everything, or into a shopping mall, the spacing it fits just as much in this game. In most MMOs, buildings and dungeons and everything, they're either undercrowded or overcrowded. They're built where it's like, you know, it's 20,000 times bigger than it should be. But here it feels natural. It feels like, you know, this is actually built by somebody in this game. You know, the NPCs that are, you know, there, and it doesn't feel fake.
It feels of scale to what you would expect with your character. I mean, there are times we'll take old EverQuest Kale. I'll probably pronounce it wrong, but whatever. The giant city over in Velius.
Yes.
I mean, obviously, it doesn't feel to scale because it's made by giants and you're the size of their foot. I mean, a lot of MMOs will get that off, like get that scale off to where we'll say like a town, you know, a human town. It feels too big for the size of people, or maybe it feels too small. A home feels really, really small, and it's supposed to feel like a standard size home. The same goes with dungeons, you know. Some feel really small, some feel really big, and there's not a lot of them that actually feel like they're correct.
Yeah.
This one does.
Even the little cracks where you basically go through a tunnel into the next area or section and everything. Even that looks natural.
Right.
Yeah.
Another thing I point out as well is they've just quickly the group window as well. They've got some indicators on it showing off the direction, which is
around. Yes, if you're having a hard time seeing it, it's around the class icon of the group member. Just this tiny little arrow. It's actually hard to see, so you do get directions, which a lot of people will find helpful. I know I will. It's to say, where are you? Oh, I'm by the rock.
Yeah.
You know, but
what also seems to the group seems to be a lot more effective now as they've gone higher in killing stuff quickly. And quickly as in terms of what this game is.
Yeah, they said basically they were level 14, around level 14-ish for this, you know, for the showing of this. Yeah, so
and let's be serious here. One of the biggest draws to Pantheon is the fact that they're bringing back challenge.
Yeah.
How many times did they die?
Exactly.
They died quite a few times, yes.
Granted, some were because of, you know, still some not finished yet pathing, right? Obviously, there's still some things that have to be done that didn't make it easy. But it's not like they were just instantly, bam, dead. Like in a lot of these games, it's like you'll go from, I can take this solo to my group can't take this.
Yeah.
This felt like you could have stood a chance, but it was still going to be a heck of a fight.
Yeah. They also talked about, you know, the ability bar, the hot bar, basically as well. And there's a question that came up. There's going to be multiple. I think there's multiple hot bars or something like that. The plan is basically to have to actually think about where you're going to be going with your group, what environment you're going to be in, what monsters you're going to encounter. So you have you kind of limit yourself with the abilities. So at the moment you've got one hot bar, but there could be maybe at a later point they might add in another hot bar or two for, you know, something like emotes or passive abilities or you know, out of the group, nothing that's basically going to be of effect with the group and the NPC encounters. But they want you to basically really think about your, you know, where you're going, what you're going to be doing. And then you basically pick your spell, set it up, and experiment as well. So, you know, try out different spell combinations in your hotbar to see what works best with you and the group. So that's actually, you know, adding to that challenge again and making you actually think, instead of just going into the dungeon, max DPSing everything, running through. 5 minutes later, you look at the watch. That was a 5-minute run. We were, you know, 20 seconds faster than that,
slower,
you know. They want you to actually enjoy yourselves and work things out, you know, figure it out. You know, don't just go in there and look at some video and or look on some wiki and, you know, get all the information. No, you have to figure stuff out. You have to learn again how to play together.
What I really want out of Dungeons and Pantheon is the fact that it's no longer going to be like a paint by numbers.
Yeah.
You can still get the same result with a different group and make things different. Take a different path, take a different group makeup, you know, and have a completely different experience.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of vibe I'm getting from Halnirs Cave here, you know, where I could go in tank heavy, I could go in healer heavy, or I could go in DPS heavy, or whatever. And it's going to give me a different feel. It might be, I might take the same route every single time, but my encounters are going to feel different. The challenge is still going to be there, but the challenge will be shifted from one side of the spectrum to the other.
Yeah, just, you know, alone choosing the wrong spell, or the, you know, the choice of spells that you have. that could either make it or break it for you in a group.
Right.
You know, and it might be a different experience as well, like you just said. You know, I might have as a mage, I might have some AOE this time around, but the next time around I'll choose a single damage spell or something like that, and the whole experience that I'm going to have with the same group is going to be different.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be great if spell choice was definitely a real option. For instance, if you're fighting against the undead, maybe fire spells do more damage against them. Humans might be elemental.
Yeah.
Well, not elemental, but whatever other thing that they have, yeah.
But, you know, again, the UI is pretty much the same. It's changed visually, but, you know, there's not too much going on the screen. You know, you're not concentrating your eyes not peeled on the UI. You can actually focus on the game. It doesn't matter what class you are. Me being a healer, I used to always just look at the hotbar or the group hotbar from my group, and that was it. That's all I focused on. I wasn't able to take in the visuals of the game. Now you kind of, you know, it's slower paced combat. You know, your traditional feel of EverQuest. I actually applaud that. Because that gives me a chance as well, as somebody that might have a stressful job in the group, being a healer or being a tank, or even a puller, to take in some of the visual game.
Oh, yeah.
Because, you know, the game looks brilliant. It's coming along really nice. The shadows, the lighting effects, it looks really good. And compared to the last showing of Halnirs Cave, I think the first one was in December 2016 with Cohh. It just looks. It's made a 150% visual change. You know, it's the same. You know, if we go in, I think we'll have to do a comparison video or something like that, to actually show off how it's changed completely.
Oh yeah, and like just to go back to the UI real quick. I mean, you know, there hasn't been a lot done, no, but that's because they're going with a minimalistic UI,
Exactly.
which I know some people like it, some people don't. But here's the thing. When it comes down to the immersion of a game, that usually, if you're a role player or a raider or a group or a casual or whatever, your immersion is what draws you in, which actually exponentially increases your enjoyment of the game. Now, if you're staring at tons of these flashy, crazy, and just eye-bleeding UIs, I mean, look at Korean MMOs, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. You can't really get immersed because you're too distracted by your UI.
Yeah.
Here, all the information you need is here. Granted, there is some stuff that I would personally like floating numbers and stuff like that, but that's just me. And that might happen, might not, we don't know yet. So I'm not going to go one way or the other. But the thing is, like I said, all the information you need to know is right there, right in your face, but it's not like screaming for attention.
There you go. There's some numbers. It might be a bug. Who knows?
Yeah, we don't know. We really don't know at this point.
But I would also assume that the UI would be one of the easier things to change. Come the end of, or the beta, for instance.
Right. But I mean, to be honest, there's not a whole lot more they need to do. They need to make it easy to obviously make more hotbars. There probably needs to be a way to lock your icons or your bars, because I'm not seeing anything here.
Yeah.
I didn't see Cohh play with the chat box or anything like that, but obviously you need to make more tabs, filter them, whatever.
Color coding as well, you know, be able to change out some of the things. So, like, have your group or have your damage and everything like that compared to somebody else's damage, be color coded differently.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Exactly.
But that's all stuff that will come down the road, because it's all standard stuff, you know. It's going to happen.
But even in this state, you know, the UI, they
very usable.
Yeah, they don't. And personally, I'm one of those people that, you know, likes less. Have less that is efficient and on par and gets to the point, rather than having 20,000 different windows that give me all kinds of information. If you can get it done in less, that will make me that makes me happier.
Right.
Yeah.
I've not necessarily been an advocate for minimalized or minimalistic UIs, but I've been a very big advocate of get the UI out of my face.
Yeah.
Stop covering up my game.
And I've been advocate for, is the UI useful? Yes or no? If so, then it's fine. If not, well, why have all of that crap?
Toss it to the curb. I don't need it.
You can see as well on the right side of the bar, you've got your 2 chat windows basically, where you have your output, what you're doing towards the encounter, and underneath you have what the group and the encounter is doing to you. So they split that up there nicely, so you can see what you're doing and what the group's doing. But there I would have it, for the second window, the bottom one, I'd kind of like, I would have the NPC encounter in a different color towards the group.
Yeah. Right.
The kind of so because people are going to want to filter this data, and
of course,
and, people are going to min max and figure stuff out, and those are things. Again, we're just pointing out that will most likely
see anyway.
Actually, we'll see. We'll see. They will happen.
Go
on.
Go ahead. Finish. Go and finish your thought.
Sorry.
I was gonna say the one you're used to it now. Because before I forget, the one thing that about the split box, like the split box on the right there, it would be fantastic if they allowed the user to create that in any of their tabs. Because I'm the kind of guy that for my social, I would love to see like shouts and OOC kind of stuff up top, but my group stuff goes in the bottom.
Own little split screen, Perfect. I agree with that.
I'd be all over that, man.
Yeah,
I
totally agree.
I used to have like 5 or 6 different, chat windows. And I would have like my OOC chat on one side, then I'd have my guild chat and my private messaging on the other side, then I'd have NPC chat on the other one, and or damage output. So I'd have like 3 or 4 chat windows all over my screen. With this, if they could pull that off, that I can basically split screen the chat within the box itself.
The boxes would be
great. Be a quality of life feature.
You have no idea how much I would love that.
Yeah.
I mean, I could talk about making Dire Lords like, one-shot kills and all this other crazy stuff, but I'm like, no, I would appreciate the split chat screen so much more.
Yeah. Because you could have 4 chats going, and then you just tab over to the next one. That's 6 chats going, and it's a lot. It's not overcrowded. It's easy to set up how you want, and definitely. So that's one feature I think quite a lot of people would most probably enjoy.
Yeah.
Again, as well with the UI, you got your target yourself, or I think that's actually Cohh's got to Avadoom targeted. Got the NPC on the right side. I like the way they've done that.
Yeah.
It's directly where you're going to be spending most of your time. You're going to be focusing on your spell bar. So what better place to have the person you're targeting or you're supporting and the NPC encounter itself.
See, I'm a bit weird being a tank primarily. Like, I do like having the offensive and defensive targeting. That's been something that was in one of my other favorite MMOs from way back in yesteryear, Anarchy Online. But I like to see the mob, what the mob's targeting, so I can make sure at a glance he's swapped, bam, taunt him. But for defensive target, I'd like to see that have that movable so that I can put it
definitely
above my name. So instead of looking up here to see my group and my personal stuff, I can just look here and see everything that I really need to know about. That's just me.
Basically, that's what I used to do in EverQuest 2. I would have my target at my spell bar. I'd have my defensive target and then the offensive target, and they've got room basically to put that in. They could technically add a third window that basically gives you your health that you can see from the get-go, have your defensive target and offensive target, and again, those might be quality of life choices that you could have.
Right.
If they can design the UI where it's something you can toggle on and off at your desire. So if you want to have that separate your self-target window, you can toggle it on and off. For those that want it on, they can toggle it on. For those that don't want it and have it as it is now, what we're seeing on the screen, it should be a choice, basically.
Right.
That's what it comes down to. Giving people choices without
especially for UI.
Exactly, without disrupting the game itself or giving you a benefit or a disadvantage.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes down to UI, the customization is king. Yeah. There's just no way around it, because what I like isn't what Yarn's going to like. It's not what Josh's going to like. It's not what you, the viewer, are going to like.
Exactly.
A few may, but that's it.
So fun times now. Anybody know what classes they have? I see a cleric.
Let me see here. I'm seeing a shaman. I'm seeing a
enchanter.
rogue, obviously, 2 warriors.
Is that enchanter as well?
Or maybe that is an enchanter, not a shaman.
But I'm seeing 2 warriors.
It's a little blurry on my screen. I never took notes, so. I just kind of went full screen, laid back, was like, entertain me.
And we have
is that third one a bard?
No. You realize everyone's like, wait, what bard? Where?
Yeah, everybody's gonna everybody flip out. Whoa, what?
Necromancer's in the 6th position. Yeah.
But I still think Aradun should get his own symbol.
I agree. Big A.
He should have his own class.
You realize everyone at BR now is going, shut up. The last thing we need is to start adding all these little extra things. If character name equals Aradun, do this and this and this. Oh, God.
So Grimhelm has written down we have a warrior, wizard, enchanter, cleric, and Cohh is playing the rogue. Yep, so that's the class combo that they have at this point in time.
Which goes to show dual tanks is viable.
Oh yeah.
Which is great news. I'm a long time career tank, and I love running tank heavy sometimes.
And the thing is, as well, that's what it comes down to. Having these choices. Brad mentioned during the stream as well that you have your Quatrinity, you've got your DPS, your CC, your tank, and then you've got two other spots basically to randomize basically. So 6-man grouping with 2 spots that you can randomly fill up. I like that. If the grouping is designed where I can have maybe 2 tanks with me and have maybe 2 clerics with me or 2 shamans or 2 druids and so forth, without having a conflict of interest or having a conflict of playability that we're kind of treading on our toes, makes it all the more fun. And that's what it's all about, socializing. They're strong on socializing. They want people to socialize, and that's a great way to do it, because we've all done it, we've all witnessed it, we've all had this happen to us. You're in your favorite MMO, you're playing a game, you're looking for a group, you spend about 2, 3, 4 hours sometimes a night looking for that one specific player who wants to come and group with you, because your group's full up, you can't put another cleric in or you can't put another tank in because they're going to be a conflict with each other. Or
your friend logs in, you already have a cleric. It's like, well, 2 clerics, why do it? It's like, well, I hate having to pick and choose people like that. I really do. I want to just be like, do we have heals? Do we have blah? Do we have this? Okay, let's go.
Yeah, for me, I think 2 tanks is always viable. I mean, just thinking taunting the mob off you when you're dropping might work, type of thing, so you can have time to recover. So there's always these options.
There's depending on the setup, there's always a different way that the group will work together, the way it'll mesh properly or effectively. I've worked in almost every situation. Like being tank heavy, you just have to coordinate with the other tanks, and you kind of, what we called it, ping pong in the mob, where he goes to him, then to me, then to him, then to me, and it spreads things out evenly. Plus, there's a little bit of dead time while it's switching and running to different people, where there's no damage being done. Pros and cons to every situation. The fact of the matter is that if I can do well with any makeup, as long as my bases are covered, I'm a very, very happy Scar.
And another thing to point out as well is, again, this is pre-alpha, and how stable
everything is.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you.
I know the visuals as well, that that because those are things that hoard your CPU and your RAM and everything, and kill your graphics card. And this isn't even happening in pre-alpha. I've been in alphas and pre-alphas where these visuals would just tear my PC apart.
Yeah.
Oh, that or all of
a
sudden there'd be a floating hill when your character's moving around.
Exactly. I foresee so many people getting lost in this dungeon.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm going to get lost. I know
Did you guys just see that? Did Cohh actually, his character, did he actually, I'm just going to quickly scroll back a few seconds. But did he have his hand on his knees, like resting, like panting?
Aradun had.
Wait, we'll see in a minute. It should happen. I did not notice that. Look at that. It's like, I'm out of breath. Help. That's so
exhaustion.
Cool.
Yeah, okay, very cool. Check. Aradun does the same thing now. Look there. There we go. There we go. Is that a graphical bug, or is that...
I do not know.
Exhaustion.
It's so awesome.
It could be an animation triggered by a detrimental effect.
Because the fighters have got that exhaustion bar at the bottom there. So I'm just wondering if that gets to the bottom. Do they put their hands on their knees to get it up? Or... Oh, the boss AoE stun.
People are saying AoE stun is what's causing that.
Oh, shame. That would have been pretty cool.
That's I don't know. See, if I were in a position to change things, I would possibly put that as an animation to some kind of like disease or a poison effect. And because a stun has always been visually like you're just standing like, oh God, it's like, yeah, I feel like I'm stunned. Oh God. Whereas
you could add it to endurance.
Animation doesn't look like you're stunned. It just looks like you're tired.
You could add it to endurance, for
right.
the melee players, and you could add it to the mana effect. When you're running out of mana, you basically, that's it. I'm kind of feeling dizzy now. I've got no more mana. So
right.
as a little hint, as a little indication for you, because if you're so engaged in what's going on, you're not going to pay attention sometimes to your mana or to how much endurance you have. So,
you should have like little symbols above your head, like little Tweety birds around your head, basically.
Little stars or something.
Yeah.
That might be a little out of style, I think.
One thing I am missing, I don't know if it's in or if it will be something that they'll be adding. You see on the right side a buff bar.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm guessing those are the buffs that Cohh has on him.
Yeah.
Correct.
But do you see anywhere else where you can see what buffs others might have?
Nothing.
No. I'd also like to see a debuff bar as well, or a detrimental bar somewhere at some point.
That's probably one of the only major concerns that I have in terms of combat is when I have played support characters, it's always been very important to me to know what I have on who and how long it has left.
Yeah.
Granted, the old school system was you buff yourself first and buff everyone in order, and you use yours as a counter. But I think we're kind of past that now by about 10 years.
Yeah.
Plus, people get dispelled. You can see you're dispelled.
Exactly.
That way. And it's like, okay, I understand.
Especially with, being limited with spells that you would technically use in your hotbar or for the encounter and everything. It kind of would help to have that knowledge to see what's going on with your other group members, so that you can plan. Because I presume that this is going to be a very challenging and one of those games where if you don't pay attention for a few seconds, the next time you look, your group's going to be dead.
Right. I mean, obviously,
there's no quick ninja AFK run to the bathroom. You come back and you've got 2 levels to go down to get your equipment.
Yeah. This is obviously part of the difficulty and the challenge comes in the communication. But the thing is, yes, we're in an age where voice over IP is very commonplace. Even people's grandmothers know how to use it now. But there are people who will go into a group. They don't really know them. It can be a bit of a hassle to give someone that Discord link or the information for TeamSpeak or what have you. So a lot of people will opt out until it gets to the point where if I like these guys and I do stuff for them often, then I will. But so you kind of have to figure out a way to still make it accessible and to give them the information they require for communication.
I got it. Similar to Twitch. Add little commands that can actually go out into OOC chat or into Sage chat when you're in your group, where you basically you as a guildie or player can actually write little macros, and then that's it. Gives out that information. We've seen it in other games similar.
Yeah. I mean, I could definitely see a macro system. Excuse me, a la like EverQuest. Where it would just be like 5 little command slots or whatever. You just say in the group, "Oh, I'm slowed" or something. Yeah. I mean that works. It's been proven that system does work. It's when you don't have voice.
Yeah.
It's just the visual would be nice for some people.
Yeah.
And it might be something to find a nice even ground between for folks.
I also think that macros for buffing would be a sweet idea, so that when the party wipes, you don't have to click on each button, boom, 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 to do it for each person. Because
are you one of those lazy clickers?
I just want to buff the party because you're going to have to buff the party at some point, so it's going to be a waste of time, to be honest. I mean, if you got the mana, you might as well just get it all done.
Well, how many out there have played an old EverQuest shaman? They can tell you how much rebuffing parties sucked until you got AAs. I mean, it was their mainstay. They were the buffer. They were the slower. They could do damage. They could do some healing. But rebuffing was like shoving toothpicks in their eyes. You know, it was just so terrible.
The thing is, though, some people are going to like it that way, and some people aren't. In EverQuest 2, for instance, they changed that whole buff system as well, where basically you would cast your group buffs, and they would stay on. If you wipe, they're still cast on the group.
Right. See, that's too far in that direction. EverQuest was too far in the other direction, which is why I'm like, kind of find something in the middle that everyone can be not necessarily happy, but happier with.
Yeah. That comes down to as well, like, you know, again what we said earlier on about the buffing. Now having to always ask, "Hey, have you got my buff?"
Exactly.
You know, stuff like that. So, yeah.
Oh, this looks like death.
It's time to die.
This is the room where the name was in, right?
Yeah.
And if I remember correctly, like Cohh brought up a very good point here, especially for a rogue where positioning is very important. With some of these transparent characters, it's really difficult to figure out which way they're facing. Yeah, and he was asking if there was like an indicator like on the targeting circle of which way they were facing.
Yeah,
I like it and I don't. I mean, it's very nice for the rogues, but it's an awful lot of work for that one character. Granted, tanks could take advantage of it too to see if something turns around.
Yeah, it's one of those things that kind of it's good, but it's not. You know, it could be a conflict.
That's definitely a great area.
Yeah.
But it's like, you know, you could argue that, well, if you're a rogue, stand to the side, figure out which way he's facing, get behind him, stab him. Right?
People should know basically where they have to position themselves and everything.
Right.
But at the same point as well, it all depends on how the game's visually designed, how the mock-up all is, you know, the UI quality of life features, the color coding and everything. I think once those kind of things kick in, that it's, you know, slightly more easy to differentiate between everything, then it might be something that is not needed. In this state, this current state with the name tagging, I would definitely love to have a feature like that to see where that mob currently is standing.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if it's split and mocked up a bit more, I don't know if that's going into the direction of making it too easy again. That brings on. I'm just going to stand here. If I just stand behind the tank or behind the melee people all the time, then I'm always good. People should have to look and move around it, and that goes for the the melee DPSers and the spellcasters, the healer. You just can't just stand around and then I'm going to stay here and that's it. I'm going to heal everything, or I'm going to go and cast DPS. You should have to move as well, and
positioning
depending on the situation.
Positioning is going to be so key, especially in these caves, because if you go behind the mob, you could easily be in the aggro range of another mob around the corner who's going to come running. It could be a wipe easily. So it's going to be so important. As a tank, especially as a tank, to know to pull the guy back slightly to get out of the aggro range.
And here we can actually see quickly that they are actually playing on pre-alpha servers. There are other people in there.
Yeah. They're not us, so they don't care. They don't matter. Just whatever. Next. I mean, oh really? How interesting.
Yeah.
Pre-alpha people around the world say in unison, "Shut up, Lex."
It looks like one of those. This looks like a dungeon that something that is to be dreaded.
Mm-hmm.
It looks really tough.
It looks tough, but it's something that I'm probably going to go through great pains being a Scar so that I can get in there. I can sense me dodging guards already.
Oh look. They used GM commands, dev powers. That's
for
cheating.
Shame.
Cheating.
For shame.
If you find running back down for your corpses that boring, don't have it in the game.
Wow. That made me look tame. I understand why they did it. I mean, it takes a lot of
time.
We've all got that corpse run horror story.
Oh yeah.
I still would really like to see a way somewhere in the world, not many of them, but certain sites where you could actually pay someone to get your corpse back. Not necessarily a player. A player would be more convenient, obviously, and probably much cheaper. But just have an NPC option somewhere in the world that's much more expensive. Because I know I'm going to lose my stuff down there.
We've already talked
I guarantee it. I know we did. But I'm just saying.
Yeah, we threw out some really cool ideas on that.
Oh, we threw out some ideas. We'll let VR decide if they're cool or not. Hint, hint.
This is really starting to come around. It's still got a ways to go, but that's a good thing.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. Take your jolly time. Don't rush anything.
This dungeon looks very playable.
Oh yes.
But there's room for improvement. So while I could definitely say that if the entire game was at the level of Halnirs Cave right now, it would be ready for an early release. But I want a good, full, proper release.
And a good thing that you mentioned that with the early release, because that was also talked about as well. I don't quite remember what the question was, but I remember them discussing it. They have, the game's crowdfunded. They don't have any early access. They have pre-alpha, then they're going to have alpha, beta, maybe an open beta release and everything. They're going to go through these different stages.
Post-beta.
And this is basically how they're going to be doing the game. There's going to be no early access because it isn't early access. People who have pledged to be in pre-alpha technically do have a early access to the game, but it's not the same as what we have for all these other games that offer early access. So that's something to differentiate as well. So there is no early access, and it's willingly so. They willingly don't want to have, or didn't want to have, early access. They want to go through their testing stages.
Well, I'm sorry. Early access for games, especially MMOs, is complete BS.
It is.
It's just a way to nickel and dime the people that are excited because they're excited.
Yeah.
But that's it. I'm not going to go any further because that's a 4-hour soapbox rant.
Well, effects look pretty polished. I was individual attack movement. You guys see anything like that?
It looks like they're getting better, but I don't think they're done yet. In my opinion, they're not done yet.
Yeah, it does look smoother, which means that there's a lot more variation, which as well. I think there's more.
And then he was also wondering if there will be a light orb summoning spell rather than always needing a torch to regenerate or to generate light. Maybe some of the spellcasters, or maybe even some of the races. If we look at the archive models, they have that those
glowy stick.
Yeah. Those glowy stripes across their chest and back and arms and everything. Maybe those things can light up. Who knows?
Exactly.
And maybe some of the classes might have something where they can. I think EverQuest and EverQuest 2 had that, where you could basically cast a light around yourself. Some of the classes. I know my Warden had it in EverQuest 2. I could cast something where I basically would have a light aura around me. So maybe some of those classes might have that. But I have to admit, I do like having the torch though.
Yeah.
I personally think it adds to the immersion and the adventure itself, the exploring.
I also think that magical weapons and things like that may also provide light sources. Be light sources.
Yeah, well, they did talk about how there would be possibly even rings that would provide light sources.
Yeah.
I mean, who remembers the good old shiny brass shield? I love that crap. Not having to carry a lantern in my range slot. Oh god, that was so nice. And it would be very nice if that kind of thing were on weapons or armor or accessories. Just to kind of mix things up, and if they had a little bit of a glow to them. So even if it was the boots, a little glow to the boots.
I'm baffled by the fire animations. Those flames look so awesome.
Oh, not baffled as in I don't understand.
That looks really, really cool. Oh, those animations have come along. They've gone a long way. In general, the animations have. I'm still just taking it all in and blown away.
I'm very happy with the spell effects and those animations. I'm so sorry, VR. I'm not happy with the character animations.
Facial night vision, possibly, maybe.
I'd be all for that.
Yeah, I could see definitely some of the races having that.
Maybe
the Scar can see better at night.
Yep.
Maybe the gnomes being of an ethereal energy.
I've got to give some bonuses to the Scar because they're pretty damn ugly to look at.
And everyone's going to hate them. Just like my life!
Yes, that's definitely a possibility.
Yeah. It'll be very interesting when they can finally release some more information about racial.
Yeah.
Stuff.
But I'm guessing there's still some ways to go yet before that.
Oh, definitely.
Because don't forget the very first stream, or the very first two, 3 streams that they did, their core focus is making the game fun, first and foremost, enjoyable and everything, and then all these other quality of life features that we're talking about. There'll be things that they will do at that point in time once they're happy with the world itself, how we engage in the world and everything. So, there's always two sides to it. Some people always want to see the visuals and the quality of life features from the get-go, and see all the animations and spells working, and the combat peaked out. The thing is, though, when you're still developing a game like this, the slightest change to an NPC or to a class character or whatever is going to affect the game as a whole, and you're going to constantly have to go back and tweak and tweak and tweak, rather than setting everything up and then tweaking it to the point is a lot easier than doing it the way most people want it nowadays. Show us how brilliant, beautiful the game looks, and give us all the, the whole complete character.
Put all the shiny things in it and realize now you just made it impossible to add 9 features.
Exactly.
Do you look between the crack over there in the floor? Do you see the mobs at the if you rewind a bit, you'll see mobs moving at the bottom there.
Wait. Really?
Just go back slightly.
Yeah, I am. Tell me when. I got to pause this now. I need to see this.
About 20 seconds back, I reckon. Okay, when they turn around now.
That's exploring. Oh, yeah, I saw that something shiny down there, yeah. Oh, what is that?
Let's just turn the camera around, people.
There you go. You can see the name
there we
tag.
Go. Now watch.
I paused it. I paused it.
There we go.
There's a name tag. So
yeah, exactly.
Cool. But I got to ask though, right? This is now not to be taken seriously, but doesn't Halnirs Cave remind you of Raiders of the Lost Ark?
No.
When he goes in there and he gets that relic.
Mm.
No.
Oh, Alex, shut up! You're so boring.
Because Indiana Jones was a little sissy. Anyone that goes to Halnirs Cave has got to have, some
stones.
Courage.
So we see the rogue when he sits down and rests. He doesn't have that aura around him.
Mm-hmm.
And if we look at,
and then you'll see just to the left of the corner there, someone was meting up, and you saw blue mist kind of being drawn in.
I have to have a look and see what characters those were. Maybe they split it up somehow. Oh, there you go. You can see now. You can see it's clear cut. There you go. You can see.
Mm-hmm.
Who is that? I couldn't quite get the name of the mob there.
Oh, there. Main Watcher.
And those visuals, hints like that, make you want to go, how do we get down there? Let's explore this cave. Let's go run around. Rather than having it, especially with having no maps in the game, this is going to make it so much more fun.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Going through a dungeon like this.
It's going to be frustrating for people who are trying to make it to a group, because you'll take the wrong turn, you'll fall down a hole, things are just going to be, oh god.
Yeah.
But this is where us as a community, we have to kind of set the standard, where if you have someone at the entrance and you're pretty deep in and you need that member, you're probably going to start working your way out. If oh guys, this is my 15-minute warning, I gotta go. Well, let's start fighting our way out so we can get a replacement.
Oh, quickly, before you carry on your thoughts, guys. Another thing that Cohh pointed out as well is the gear that drops is not restricted at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
He had some plate
gloves, sort of, yeah.
Yeah, and he can basically wear those because they haven't put any limitations in there yet. So armor that drops can be worn by anybody at the moment. There they are. There's the gloves. Right on cue. At Joshua Monk, I love your hair. I'm jealous.
There, it's been said. You think that's good? You should see the hair on my back.
Yeah, so this early on, pre-alpha, the state it's in, they can actually pat themselves on the back. To be honest, they've done.
Yeah. And they did say
really
that
good.
the rogue putting on plate was a bug.
It was a bug. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it is split, is it now?
Well, I think it's gonna. Don't quote me on this, but it's basically gonna be like certain classes are able to wear plate and some classes will not.
Yeah.
Because if I saw a wizard running around in plate armor, I'd be like, no.
But it also looks like that there'll be weight restrictions as well. So you being weak.
You can put that plate armor on, and you can walk at a half mile an hour, or you can wear what you're supposed to wear and run.
Exactly.
That beam must be very painful.
Oh, I bet.
And
To Asura, the Bane have bound.
he seems to have bones made out of adamantium because he's not dropping an inch. Okay, there he went down a bit.
Go on, John.
As a little throwback to my old EverQuest days and stuff, I used to just love weapons that had particle effects. Even just that cheesy little ball at the end of that stick.
Yeah.
I was looking and go, that's got to be something special. I want it.
Yeah. Like Aradin's sword, all wrapped up in flames.
Oh, that's so good. Where the flame licks across the blade.
It burns! Someone give me some ointment!
Fiery Avenger 2.0.
He is the Fiery Avenger. You just see him run across the screen on fire.
Wasn't there a stream from VR where he was in flames at one point?
I don't remember.
I can't recall.
Yeah, I think there was. He was in flames. It's so funny. But yeah, it's definitely come a long way so far. But for me, I think they should take their jolly old time, and do it right. Stick to their vision.
Mm-hmm.
And for everybody out there on Tuesday, they will be streaming again with Jim Lee from DC Comics. He'll be getting to play Pantheon and test the game out. So that will be at... Anybody know the time when that was?
The time, it will be 11 p.m. Eastern time, because I know... Because when I saw the tweet, I looked at it going, really? Come on! Because I'm going to be there. And I'm going to be dragging my butt to bed when it's done.
Yeah, and they they died again.
Stoned to Death says they talked about the NPC abilities a little bit, that the beam is also taking armor class from the target and stacking a bomb-like effect on them.
Which is wonderful news, because that means you're going to have very interesting boss battles, which is just great.
And separate that tank from everybody. Move, people, move.
Yep.
It's going to be hectic. Wow.
The god says, I want the game rushed in a mess.
Too bad, Sigurd. Too bad.
Yeah, dude. We're going to have a chat with you later.
Yep. We'll have to have a chat with you, boy.
They should take their jolly old time.
No.
Take
their time, get it right.
Yeah, there we go. There's an Archive with his shiny stripes.
His this end up arrow.
Yeah, there we go. That's it. There we go. And send the Archive forward.
I still love that, how they have this side up arrow on their back and the front.
Yeah.
Do not stack upside down.
Wait.
Good luck getting your stuff back, guys.
They got GM commands, they're fine.
Yeah. Well, that's one thing that you'd have to think about as well. When you pull a boss or something, make sure you're near a door. So if you do die, he can reset back to his old position, and you can just grab your stuff.
Oh, look! You can even actually just make a crack open the door, a little crack, and then peek your head in. That's
Oh,
pretty
that's
cool.
very cool.
That's
Housekeeping. Hello.
Yeah. Hello. Can I come in?
It's me, there.
18 room now.
Is he gonna make it?
This is where you gotta be like, where's a monk with fake death? Get iced out, please.
Goodbye.
Yeah, little too close for comfort.
The light
I love that
of this
effect
dungeon.
of the rogue. Wow. That shadow that poofs around him.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think we've covered for the most part some of the stuff we wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
We didn't have the possibility to catch all of the stream or pay attention as much to it as well, so that comes into account. But,
Just trust me, we have good reasons.
Huh?
Just trust me, good reasons.
So, but we will be back on Tuesday, and we'll try and. In the meantime, I'll try and catch up on some of the questions that were asked during Cohh stream, and we'll talk about that on Tuesday as well. We'll bring those in and answer some of those questions. The game's definitely looking really good.
Yeah.
Show your love and support. Let them have the time that they need to do it right, and trust in them that the game is moving forward at the pace that they want. If you are in the US and you have the chance to go to PAX East, you will be able to play the game. Limited time will be it will be limited time though, but you can meet the devs, play the game a bit. I think they mentioned during the stream as well. So if you have the chance to go there, they'll be there on April 5th, I think it is. Right.
I believe so. I could be wrong because I can't travel to them, so I just forget about them.
And if anybody in chat is going there, please say hello to VR from the Voice of Terminus.
Yeah.
For us.
And tell them that VoT rocks! Make them believe.
And we will see you guys all on Tuesday. Me and Lex will be there. Josh unfortunately won't be able to make it on Tuesday. It'll be very late. Very late. Actually, very early in the morning. We're getting up going to work when we start.
Yeah. You make me a happy scar. Let's show them the spider. And Josh, you want to give some final thoughts on it all?
What do you mean spider?
Yeah,
the spider boss at the end.
Yeah.
And you want to give just some final thoughts on what we saw?
Oh yeah. Okay, no, sorry, I lost you guys for a sec there. No, it really is looking great. The lighting, the movement, just the immenseness of this cave looks quite amazing. I think it will be nice to actually see some other areas at some point, because I think people are going to get quite bored of seeing this area. But I can see people just getting lost down here 3-4 weeks at a time, I reckon.
The thing is as well, how much do you want to reveal as a developer?
Yeah.
That's
it's the same with the community out there. How much do you really want to see? Because if you've seen it all,
what's the use?
If you see it all, you don't want to play it.
Yeah. It could. There's two sides of the coin to this one. How much do you reveal? Because you want people to obviously figure stuff out, find stuff out for themselves, and be in awe and intrigued about finding new areas and places and stuff like that.
You have to leave some to the imagination.
I can understand that they would most probably love to show a lot more. But they've got to be very careful about it. How much do we reveal? Because they still want people to be interested and go out there and explore for themselves. So I can understand
Their point of view, but
their
also
point of view.
people's point of view.
Exactly. So maybe, you know, if they at a later point, South Soul, if they have that set up a bit more, maybe they can show some of that now in the new visual effect.
Yeah.
Or some more of Amber Fate, maybe, or something like that. Or even Avendir's Pass. I think Avendir's Pass would be a nice zone to look at in the revamp of the visuals.
Yeah.
That's I think maybe that would be a compromise. So not revealing too much again, or even, you know, if they have the Tower of the Reckless Magician added some features or something like that, because they could show off some more of that maybe.
Yeah, exactly. So those are my thoughts. I think it's looking great so far for pre-alpha.
Definitely, it is. It's heading in the right path. It's starting to really come along. Really nice, and we just have to let them have the time that they need to do it. We've seen what happens to rushed games, especially with MMOs. Don't forget, people, an MMO is a game that's going to be something we are going to be playing for hopefully decades to come. And you know,
if I don't get 10 years out of it, something's wrong.
Exactly.
So
I'll be older and grayer.
Yeah, we should respect them and give them the time that is needed to make it a experience that we will cherish for the years to come and want to always come back. Because don't forget, an MMO is a game that's constantly living, evolving, moving forward. There's a big difference between a single player game and an MMO. There is a finish. You know, there's an end to a single player game. An MMO does not necessarily have an end, or shouldn't have an end. That's another, you know, end game content. When I hear that in MMOs, it just despises me. It makes me shiver, because there shouldn't be end game content.
Exactly.
Well, it's like this. Okay, what I tell people is that a single player game is a story. An MMO is a world. You know, there's usually a story, but then you make your own stories. You meet people. You make friendships. You have something that actually feels like an adventure. There is some drama. There's some comedy. There's some tragedy. It's everything. It is literally a world.
GoGo04. To get into pre-alpha, back then, you had to purchase one of the VIP pledges. It started at 1K. You can still basically crowdfund the game. They have a lot of packages out there. Pre-alpha is not available anymore, though. That's one of the perks that got restricted. When was that? In December, wasn't it? Where they
in December.
It, where they basically
beginning of December.
Yeah.
You can still get in and purchase some of the packages that have.
If you do the command, I think it's cost or price. It'll actually take you to the pledge page, or it'll provide you a link. Or actually, I'll see if it works myself here.
There you go, brilliant.
I
did not know we had those commands.
There's also a command to see commands.
There you go. That's the perks of the VoT. We absolutely have no clue.
On the ball.
We do stuff. We just don't tell each other.
Yeah. Yep. We're always unprepared. Going raw. I mean, I have to admit, today I was way behind. I kind of fell asleep, really knackered. And
it's been a rough week.
I had nothing prepared. I didn't have the layout prepared for the stream. I didn't have the intro video done. So I had to mash it all together in 20 minutes. Oh well.
You should have heard it. You should have heard him before. It's like, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god. Like, where does this go? Where did that go? Why isn't this working?
Yep. But I will be prepared for Tuesday. That's a guarantee. Because I've got at least one day to prepare now. And now I'm prepared to be prepared.
Yeah. I'd say that you're not going to get any help from me, but that's kind of what you come to expect now.
Did they show off the halflings? No. That's also another area that they could go more into depth as well, is Wild's End.
They're good.
Well, I was thinking I'm looking forward to seeing the Wild's End and probably the houses and the trees and that type of thing.
Yeah.
I think
We have
would
seen
look
it once.
visually great.
We've seen a little bit of it once.
Yeah, when they were going through it with Cohh the first time, when they showed off the new ogre class and archive models and all that lot.
I mean, we don't know what's really to come on Tuesday, so
Yep, it's going to be
fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
Yep, so look forward to that. This is the spider, the named.
It looks rough. Oh my god. It looks super rough. Oh god, Josh causing problems in chat. God.
What was that?
He said Bard's on Tuesday. He's a bigger troll than I am.
Yeah, Josh, what's up with you, dude? You trying to cause havoc? Do you need Shy to put out more fires?
I'm sure she said
Shah's pretty bored.
I mean, look at that. It's got an AE root.
Oh.
There's an AE, I think it's a dot to it. Man, that's rough.
That's nasty.
Look at that. You died. You have died. And did you see when you die, you lose some experience?
Mm-hmm.
Very nice.
There has to be a risk involved with that. Otherwise, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, there has to. When they took away, debt and group debt and took away the gear degradation from EverQuest 2, it was like, wow, this is boring. Because nobody pays attention anymore then in the groups. The nukers will just over-nuke. The tank will just run through and pull everything. The healer won't pay attention because, hey, guess what? If I die or we wipe, then there's nothing's going to happen to us. We're not going to lose any level. We're not going to have any experience loss. We're not going to have any of this. We're not going to have any corpse runs, because that's another thing that was missing as well. No more corpses. With this, having corpses in the game, having, experience loss, it's going to make you pay attention and work together. Talk to each other. And play the game together rather than just thinking about yourself in the group.
What's going to be so good for me as well is that I think a lot of MMOs these days, people just try and run in and just beat the bosses up quickly. This one you'll actually have to think, and well, like that spider, for instance, if you try and zerg that boss and you get wiped out, it is going to take you forever to get your corpse back. So you got to be 100% sure you got all your buffs on, that you got the right levels to go up against that mob. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah.
Google points out as well that he likes how they show the web defect visually.
Yeah.
So you'd have to call that out. So that was basically the end of their stream, and it's definitely a very promising. Mm-hmm. And for those that didn't play EverQuest or anything close to it, I think they will also enjoy this kind of game, because it's not all old school.
No,
I can see.
It's like the old school mantra with new school ideas.
Yeah.
They take what has obviously worked, because EverQuest just turned 18?
Mm-hmm.
It's still around. Yeah. It's still going strong. Crazy! That just blows my mind. And why not take some of the things that people love the most from that? And now that is not to say that new school or new school-ish players won't enjoy it. They're going to find it a shock, but I have a feeling that most of them are going to really enjoy the difficulty and the fact that they have to forge their own way, instead of feeling like Big Brother is holding their hand and taking them along the path and be like, okay, now pick that up. Okay, now put that here. Oh, here's a shiny sword. Now you can kill anything.
It's a 19. EQ turned 19.
19. Okay. I knew it was old because I've played that game since beta, and I feel really old now. I'm gonna go cry in a corner.
20 next year.
20. My word.
So we will be here back on Tuesday, and on Friday we will be carrying on our archetype and subclass discussion that we had on last Friday.
Mm-hmm.
I look forward to that coming your way. A series of shows that will be some very controversial thoughts and ideas going into that one, but bear with us, it will be very interesting, and we'll see you all on Tuesday. We don't know when, we don't know how long VR are going to be streaming on Tuesday, so hit the follow button, notification and whatnot, and you'll be apprised when we go live. Lex, did you have anything final to say?
Sure. Like I said, we what we've seen today is obviously a step in the right direction. Made great strides, especially in Halnirs Cave, obviously. We've seen a lot of really good spell effects. You know, the particles look great, the lighting and the shadows are magnificent. There is still obviously work to be done. Animations, in my opinion. I can definitely see myself being lost for hours on end in Halnirs Cave, but in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I'm more excited than I've ever been for Pantheon. And I'm finally starting to turn the corner of telling a lot of my old school MMO friends and past guildies that you can finally go from being cautiously optimistic to being excited.
Well, one thing I just remembered as well, it's very important to point out. A question was asked as well from a old school EverQuester, basically asking, you know, how is it going? How are you going to accommodate those that come from the old school genre, you know, the old school times era of EverQuest, that now have families, jobs, responsibilities outside of gaming? How are they going to be able to, you know, feel accomplished in Pantheon? And the devs mentioned basically that their aim is basically to give you, within 2 hours of playing, an experience where you say, okay, you feel accomplished, you feel you've achieved something, you log in the next day or whenever, and you carry on from there with the excitement of you've actually done something in game. So they're going to try and respect that, because, you know, everybody's grown up, everybody's gotten older, you know, real life's kicked in. There's no more sitting in front of the PC for 8, 9, 10 hours a day.
I can't do a 48-hour session again. I tried it when I first started streaming. I did like a 24-hour stream on my first year anniversary, and I swear to God, I felt like I was gonna die at hour 22.
Yeah.
I'm sitting at my PC streaming, going, "Oh my God, when did I get so old?"
Yeah, the game will
don't
not
have the
be
stamina
free.
anymore.
The game will not be
I don't.
free to play. Tell you that from the get-go. The game will have some kind of subscription model. No free to play here. That's
free to play. The downside to free to play is that the studios are always forced to find other ways to make revenue, and that usually comes at the cost of the players. Not always, but quite often. And VR has decided to don't even put themselves in a position where they feel like they have to take advantage of players in order to keep the thing going. Go with the standard sub, get a predictable income, and everybody wins.
You know, about your 24-hour stream, Lex, didn't VR mention in one of their streams that they wanted to do something similar? And, you know, the person that basically is the last gets some kind of prize. Didn't they mention something like that?
No, because otherwise I would kill myself trying to do something that's stupid.
And if
I'm sure they did.
If multiple people make it past the 24 hours, they just got to keep on going till one of them taps out.
Everybody go onto Twitter and find that clip
I'm stubborn.
And tag Pantheon MMO and Aradoon and remind them of that. That they still owe us a 24+ hour stream or whatever it was.
Yeah, now the thing is, though, I mean, would I do something like that with VR? Yes. Would I hurt myself? Well, not hurt myself, because eventually you're gonna fall asleep.
You will hurt yourself.
It'll be my forehead hitting the keyboard. But would I be that stupid guy that basically sits there going, yes, I would. And I don't know if I could take that humiliation.
See, Lex, that's where you can take some tips from me. The way I do something like that is I have pre-recorded footage, and then I just change out the scene when I'm in a town or a city and I'm running around. I play that pre-recorded footage and lie down for 2 hours.
Oh God, no. No, because when you do a 24-hour stream, you have to interact with your audience. That way they know you're awake. But because of what I do for my personal stuff, and I'm not going to get into it because it's not here or there, I would set stuff up to wake me up. Like there would be a command that a blowhorn goes off in my headset or something.
Well,
I'd have those glasses
though, guys,
that just had painted eyeballs on.
I haven't told you this though yet, but when the game launches, when we get into that the 24 hours before it goes live, we're going to be doing a 24-hour stream. We're going to be talking about the game and looking at everything, and then we're going to basically show people as we log in for the first time live, and dabble in the game. That's what we're going to be doing.
No, you're going to do a 24-hour stream. My scar butt is going to be in bed.
I will be doing a 24-hour stream, guaranteed. I promise. We'll do it.
I might do 4. I might do 8. That's it.
What we could do is we could split it up maybe.
You do so much, and Josh does some, and I do some.
Yeah. And then maybe. Us all together.
That might work. That might work.
And we're gonna have a party though. We're definitely gonna have a party, a pre-launch party or something like that. We'll do something special, and we'll think of something. But that's still some time away. Don't get your hopes up now.
I'll be moral support from my comfy heated bed.
Right. So with that, guys, see you all on Tuesday, and we hope you enjoyed today's stream with Cohh, Carnage, and VR, and we hope you enjoyed our little post-stream analysis
of it.
And we're sorry we didn't get all the questions and everything like that, but we were occupied elsewhere, and like I said, I fell asleep and got up pretty late, so
right. But my wife is getting dinner ready, and I'm hungry. So I will see you guys Tuesday. You better be at the VR stream, because we're all going to be representing, and we're going to be watching it together and having fun.
Yep, and the stream can be caught on twitch.tv/JimLee is where you can find stream on Tuesday. Take care, everyone.
Cheers, guys.